Okay, so for this video, I'm going to tell you how to tell the difference between wild blackberries and wild raspberries. Blackberries and raspberries have these thorny canes, and it can be really difficult to tell them apart. A lot of people just call them briars or prickers. Even in the forestry and ecology community, sometimes we refer to them both as rubus, which is their genus. So it's actually really easy to tell them apart. When you look at their canes, their stems, there are two traits that will allow you to tell them apart. The first is that blackberry canes are actually ridged. So if you were to cut one of them, you would see that it's angular in cross section, whereas raspberry canes are not ridged. And if you were to cut them off, you'll see that they're actually round in cross section. Their leaves are also different. Both blackberries and raspberries have a compound leaf. So it will actually look like it has a bunch of little tiny leaves, but what those are is it's called leaflets, and together those leaflets comprise a leaf. A leaf that's a single piece, like an oak leaf or a maple leaf, we call that a simple leaf. But there's different ways that a leaf can be a compound leaf. In the case of blackberry, it's called a palmately compound leaf. So a palmately compound leaf means that all the leaflets are coming off at one central point, like the fingers on your hand. So think of it as the palm of your hand, palmately compound. A pinnately compound leaf is what an ash leaf is. So what it is basically there's a central stem and then there's pairs of leaves that come off at different places off that stem. So this is an example of a pinnately compound raspberry leaf, and this is an example of a palmately compound blackberry leaf. The last difference to point out between raspberry canes and blackberry canes is that raspberry canes will sometimes have something called a glaucous bloom. What that is essentially just a purplish kind of sheen, this purplish waxy coating to the stem. Blackberry canes will always be this sort of matte red color, whereas raspberry canes will appear to be sometimes this sort of pinkish, bluish red. Most people would associate both raspberries and blackberries with this kind of habitat. It just seems that whenever there's light that's created, there's trees that are cut, maybe there's a natural disturbance, both raspberries and blackberries just come into these areas and capitalize on that. And after 3 years or 5 years, it becomes this just impenetrable mass of raspberries and blackberries. Actually a really amazing cover for wildlife. Like other species of shrubs and trees that carry their seeds encased within a fleshy fruit, what we call soft mast, raspberries and blackberries are eaten by animals, pass through the digestive system of those animals, and then are deposited out as scat somewhere on the landscape. Interestingly, those seeds don't necessarily sprout right away. And actually, one of the things that's really amazing about raspberries and blackberries is the ability of those little seeds to remain viable but ungerminated in the soil for a long time, 30 or 40 years. This is the amazing thing that happens. A tree falls or a tree is cut, and it's not that those raspberries and blackberries are being deposited in that area, that they're finding that area. It's that they're already there in the seed bank of the soil, viable but ungerminated, waiting for a chance to sprout. And they're actually under our feet all the time when we walk in the forest.